Well, time to everybody to get to your seats. I got me some water. Hope you got your popped corn.
Mine's unpopped. Did I do it right?
No. Well,
Oh,
welcome to the Kino Corner. We talk movies, news, trailers, and all the best in movies from a certain point of view. I am joined by my good lightning cloud elemental friend Thunderheart.
thank you, thank you. Happy to be here.
As you can tell by the bottom of the screen, we're today talking about YouTube, the modern TV. I truly believe that is the case in terms of just media consumption nowadays. But I guess we'll talk more about that when it gets to it. As is custom on the Kino Corner, before we talk about our main topic, we kind of go through little bits of news, trailers, and maybe talk about anything we've watched recently that has caught our fancy. Uh, in order to kick us off, I do want to start off with news. I tried to structure these in a way that leads into the other. The the first thing to talk about is there's a teaser image that came out, and we kind of have official confirmation that there will be a Young Avengers. Like, and we do have that scene with America Chavez, Ironheart, and I think that's Cassie Lang.
Yeah, I was checking out the the story on that, and there was a bunch of, well, there's this and then there's this, but then there's also that, and then it turned into a list of, well, they could use this person and they could use that person and they could use the other person. And I was saying that they had three confirmed for who they could pull in and cast. But does everything beyond like those three specifically were just speculation.
Yeah, I, there's a lot of gray area considering Marvel's recent tendency to just change their mind on projects. I mean, we went from Kang to Doctor Doom. I'm happy we now have a confirmation. This tells me that they're at least filming it, so we're gonna get something. I don't know if it's a
Right.
movie or a show. I would kind of prefer a show. Is that weird?
No, I don't think so because I think kind of like what you said is that I think that TV now or media now really is just consumed more in a short form.
Mhm.
And I think, I mean, you look at it now between all of the streaming services and everything, like nobody really goes to the movies, not like they used to. And it has nothing to do with COVID-19 that hit, but like you just look over the last few years and with the advances that are being made in streaming services now, I think a lot of companies and a lot of production companies and everything are realizing that they can get better traction and more eyes on their product if they do series because people have time to kill. They need something to eat up more than just an hour and a half or 2 hours out of their day. You know, they want something to be able to sit down and binge
Yeah.
or have playing in the background while they're cleaning their house or something.
I I th- I wouldn't say theaters are dying per se. I think there is now a trend that it's more so that movie studios need to accept that they're not the big kid on the block anymore. They're going to be around for a long, long, long time. The sheer fact that we still have drive-in theaters is evidence of that. But they need to accept that the streaming is the new normal to go along with theaters. But
Yes.
this particular property, just because it's mostly crowd interest, and I could say after seeing the movies that introduce these characters, well, I can't imagine the general interest in this group is probably that high, and it might be better in a show format to be consumed at their leisure instead of just blowing everything on a big budget movie like they're going to do with Secret Wars. Does that make sense?
No, and I think you have a point there too, because I think like if you're going to gamble with a bunch of, I won't say unknowns, but I would say potentially like unproven, whether that's from a talent perspective or a writing perspective with, okay, what are we doing with these characters, what are we doing with these stories, I feel like it's less risky doing it in a show format than a TV format where or a movie format where you're going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars. You've got one shot, you got to make it count. Whereas if you've got a show that's going along, you have the ability to potentially tweak it, make changes, improve things as you go along, and give the audience that you're trying to reach time to adjust to the new characters and go, okay, I've never seen this person before. How are they acting? What are they like? I haven't seen this character in the MCU before, and I feel like it's easier to introduce and roll out new IPs, new ideas, new characters, new actors in a streaming type format.
Yeah. Well, these characters in particular, they've been introduced. It's just that when they were introduced, they were seen as like the weakest part of that film, potentially. America Chavez was in Multiverse of Madness. I and I also want to be clear, like the bits we've seen of all three of these actresses, they are very talented. Anything I'm going to say about them is more to do with how they were written into the film. Like these are up and coming actors, but America Chavez did fine, but her existence in the movie felt kind of just there, kind of shoehorned. Like
Right.
she was important, but she
She
was,
didn't carry it. She wasn't like the main focus of it. She was
yeah,
just there. She contributed her bit, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a focus for her.
yeah,
So you don't really get a feel for like, okay, in this little snippet,
yeah.
I can see it, but does that necessarily translate to a full thing?
Correct. It with her, yeah, with her, it's hers was a weird balance. Yeah, like it was a Doctor Strange movie, and it was like there were some parts where we were focusing on her. We wanted to focus on Doctor Strange, and some parts where we actually wanted to know more about her backstory. It's like, no, no, that sounded like relevant information. Then it pulled to Doctor Strange. It was a weirdly handled thing. With Cassie Lang, I think her and Miss Marvel are the ones that like. I think they'll do fine because I like them in their show, but everyone kind of dismisses Ant-Man Quantumania. It's not the best Marvel movie. I think it's dumb fun, but it is bad. And
I mean,
but
sometimes you need movies like that.
yeah, no, you absolutely do. But like Cassie Lang is definitely of all the elements that didn't work in that movie. Cassie Lang was not one of those elements. She did fine. Um, but there's not a whole lot to say about like the teaser, like other than we have confirmation that it is happening. Like beyond just we granted we had an after credit scene in the Marvels. But as I just said, Marvel's changed their mind a few times in this past year about the direction they're taking the MCU. For that fact alone, like I'm not going to be hyped about a character appearing on screen until I see a trailer or see teasers like this, because now suddenly the Blade movie is apparently just in this nebulous state of it probably won't happen. So yeah, it's a whole lot of bullshit.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, and you could even equate something like that to what happens a lot of times in kind of transition to different media here. But like you see that happen in video game stuff all the time, where you'll see, oh hey, we're gonna, and we're there, they'll announce some game, you'll hear some rumor that something's in the works, and then 10 years later, no one has heard anything about it again.
Oh yeah.
Where one of the taglines, I forget which YouTuber it is, but he does the I won't believe it until I see a trailer. I won't believe it until I see gameplay. And I feel like that's what this trailer kind of does in that vein, considering how much Marvel likes to waffle on things.
Oh,
Is
that's
okay, nope, they've got this, we're going.
oh
Yeah, I can't
that's
remember his name off the top of my head. I know gosh, what's his name?
I know you're talking about. It's Lyle Rath. He does the pregame
Lyle,
discharge.
that is it. Lyle Rath. Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
game, no
Yeah.
hype. Let's
No game,
fucking
no hype.
go.
That's yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with these. It's like no trailer, no hype. Like
Yeah. And
show us that you've put in the effort and you're investing in it to make it work.
I'm glad you said that because I well, okay, that'll become more relevant when we talk about later stuff. But yeah, just to move on from Marvel. That's really the only Marvel thing. I know January and February. There's probably, especially February, is going to be more Marvel stuff going on because I'm going to see the thing. But one piece of news that I think the first part of this news is slightly old, new to me. Henry Cavill being in a Voltron live action thing. I think it's coming to
Yeah, that caught me
Netflix.
completely off guard. That I had no idea. That was completely out of left field.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Henry Cavill has basically just embraced his role as just the nerd king in the acting world.
which is fine. We need one.
and it's like, hey, you want to play this super new role? He goes, yeah, I watched the interview. Apparently, when he was doing Superman, there was a lot of like directors and producers that hated working with him because he was the guy who would look at the script and go, "But Superman wouldn't do this."
Good, good. That needs to happen more.
Yes,
Someone
like
needs to sit down and read some of these scripts and go, yeah, but the character that I'm playing, especially if you're going to handle, I mean, I'll say it like beloved characters and beloved franchises, you have to have a level of respect for the source material because nothing will get a bunch of neckbeards angrier. Someone does something and they go, that's not what he would do, and
yeah.
then you have an issue. So having an actor there that cares about what they're doing and the project that they're working on is very important.
Oh yeah, and well, and just the overall whole project, Voltron, by its nature, it's it is slightly more mature than Power Rangers, but not by a lot. It's 80s mech anime. There was that recent Netflix show I have only caught an episode or two of a while ago. I'm probably gonna rewatch it now, like or rather watch it in its entirety now. But it seems to follow that trend of shows similar to like that new He-Man show or like or some shit where it's they actually the instead of a big studio they just threw it in the hands of a smaller group of who they perceive as nobodies and it turns into like the biggest fucking show ever, like an actually good show. Because I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, because I feel like, and you have a point. I feel like that happens more often than I think is realized. Is that companies will have something that they want to work on, but they don't really think it's going to be all that great, or it's not going to be, for whatever reason, they decide to hand it off to, like you said, sort of like the B team to go handle, and then it ends up blowing up, and it's because they don't care about, well, all right, we've got to get this done, we got to meet these deadlines, we got to do these things like they do with a lot of, like, I guess their primary projects and everything. It's just on the back burner, and that gives the people working on it more time to put more effort and more love
Yeah.
and more energy into the project.
Mhm. I'm all we again just like with that all we have is news that Henry Cavill and some other great actors are going to be in this. I'm excited for a trailer. If okay, I'm not
There's a
gonna
trailer on YouTube.
for Voltron.
Yes,
What?
yes, there was one on YouTube. I watched it earlier.
Hold
It's
on.
it very much gives me like Pacific Rim Transformers vibes. Like
The
even the movement of Voltron and how a lot of the fluid is done in the cinematography in it, and the movement and the motions and everything, very much very Pacific Rim, very Transformers.
oh shit, yeah, there
No
is.
complaints. No big complaints about it. I was never like a super big Voltron guy, but it looked decent. That's all I'm saying. It looked like it would just be something fun to go and watch. I didn't see anything that stuck out to me as oh well, that kind of sucks, I'm not gonna go watch it. I mean, like I said, it did look a little transformery, but I mean, if you know what works, and you know how to show off some of that animation and everything, I go for it.
Yeah,
There's only so many things you can do with giant mechs that before you start just running into them doing the same thing.
yeah. Okay, I'm seeing fan made trailers. Nothing official, but like even the fan made trailers are really good. But like I hope I get like something good sitting because I think it is Netflix. But
Yeah, I think so.
if if this is like the recent Gundam show they did, I'm not going to talk about it new and recent films because I'm only one episode in. I don't. It's not. It's a good show. It's just not leaving enough of me to talk about until I probably finish it. So I'm not going to bring it up too much.
That's fair.
But if it's that same level of quality so far, I think it will be fine. But I know Netflix had a rough start, but recently they have had a very good track record with adaptations. So
Yeah, I think you've got a point. I'm sitting there trying to think about it because I know for a while when they were trying to roll out the adaptations, like it was just landmine after landmine after landmine. But now that you mention it, I haven't. There hasn't really been a major one that I can think of off the top of my head that was a dud.
Like the big, I think the big one that started their turnaround was One Piece, but looking back at some of the recent ones, Yu Yu Hakusho is pretty good. Their new Gundam show is pretty good. Like they have other things coming out that look pretty good. Like I said, nothing is screaming, "Oh, this is god awful." I think Netflix is taking the lead. It's obviously they're a bunch of corporate fuckheads. They make their own mistakes, but one thing they're doing
Right.
right is they're just letting the creators, letting the directors go nuts. It's just like, listen, we can like they're doing what they should be doing on the business and like, hey, we can allow this much money and this much time. All right, our part
Go
is
ham.
done. Go ham. Yeah, yeah. They did that with all these shows, and what do you know? They're turning out fine. And if they do that same love for Voltron, great. And Henry Cavill, King of the Nerds, being part of it is just fuck yeah.
Yeah, and then and I agree. I think, and I mean, you've kind of touched on the point, but I think just kind of tie it all together. I feel like the best, maybe not the best, but in my opinion, the best chance of success for a new project and adaptation, whatever it may be, is for the corporate assholes to go, here's your money, and then leave it alone.
Yeah,
And let the people who are supposed to be producing it and writing it and handling it do their job. And they just go, here's your money. We'll give you the advertising. We'll give you the stuff. Now go do the thing and make us money. And then they don't touch anything.
yeah. Like again, so I know I mentioned One Piece, but it's amazing. Like with One Piece, they basically like, hey, like we'll allow you 8 episodes, and Oda's like, all right, bet. And what
Bet. Hold my
it,
beer.
yeah, Oda, the creator of One Piece, was actively involved in casting decisions. He was actively involved in writing. He was actively involved in like set scouting. Like there's a reason, like despite him being like 30s and 40s right now. Well, I think he's like a late 40. How old is Oda? He's younger than he should be for experiencing the health problems he is. It's because he overworks himself.
Right. It's because he wrote the whole fucking series.
Yeah, but like
He's wrote a series that has covered more time than he's been alive.
yeah, he also like I have deep respect for Oda. Also because after like 2 or 3 movies or games each, he decided no. These are kind of ass. I'm gonna do all the writing for the movies and the games on top of everything else I do, and all of his assistants are like, dude.
Everything's broken and I'm the only one that can fix it.
uh,
Just holds up the Infinity Stones. It's fine. I'll do it
for
myself.
real though, I I know there's an active joke in the anime community that when One Piece is going to end and we're going to get like One Piece Shippuden. I don't think that's going to be the case.
One Piece Boruto.
One Piece, but I firmly believe that Oda will keep writing after One Piece, but it won't.
Hopefully he takes a break. Jesus.
No, like it will be a break, but the deadlines will no longer be there. Instead
Yeah.
of like there was a recent thing that came out called One Piece Fan Letter. Even if you're only vaguely familiar with One Piece, it's on Netflix, and it had a limited run that might still be available on YouTube. Great watch, wonderful 30 minutes. It's basically a section of One Piece from the perspective of the everyday Joe Schmo, and it recontextualizes just how horrifying it is for basically a casual nobody in a shonen anime.
Right, which is true, because that's one thing that just never gets touched on is, and you could look at any shonen anime, you look at, like you said, you got that bit in One Piece. If you even go look at the Dragon Ball Z universe, Earth's been blown up like 3 times, and like you don't even know. You're just going like the average Joe Schmo is just going about their business, and then energy attacks the size of the moon are crashing into the planet.
Yeah. So yeah, I think if we get it after One Piece is said and done, Oda will keep writing, but he'll basically just do. I want to do a little short story about like what Usopp is up to. Just 2 quick chapters. Like let that sit for a month. I want to do another chapter or two about what Luffy's up to, and let that sit for a few months. I think it's just going to be like little side stories in the world, like instead of just a dedicated follow up. You know?
Yeah, no, and I think that would work better too, because like you said, it would take the impetus of the deadlines off of him, and it would allow him to again write on his own schedule, write on his own thing. But it gives him in that way, it gives him more of a leeway of what he wants to work on and what he wants to put his time into.
Yeah,
Instead of going, okay, I've got to pump out this mainline thing and hit these deadlines and do all the stuff, which granted he does a lot of it himself,
yeah,
so he doesn't really get to complain if he's the self-inflicting,
yeah.
but like
Oh,
it gives him more wiggle room for, you know what, I only feel like writing one thing today and it's going to be a 5 year time skip and what Luffy's up to. Like
yeah,
it gives him more fun, I think.
yeah, and like whether you love or hate One Piece, there's one fact that is true. One Piece is the number one thing in Japan. Like how America views a Dragon Ball Z, Japan views One Piece that way tenfold. There's literal
Oh yeah,
statues.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's literal statues of the Straw Hat Crew spread across all of Japan. Oda has basically the guy who, like,
Oda is Japan.
Oda is like like a Shonen Jump. If Oda wants to go see the execs of Shonen Jump and say, "Hey, I can't do this thing this week," they cannot talk shit to him. They're basically like, "Dude, you're our golden goose. If you need to take a break, man, just
Too
we'll."
bad he never tells them he needs a break.
But he does a lot for health reasons because he overworks himself. But like the
Yeah, he and as well he should.
but no, it's I don't want to get too distracted with One Piece, but I needed
Yeah, I
a
know.
little bit of happy because some of the later stuff I'm going to talk about it very. I have thoughts. The teaser. Well, okay, I'm not marking this
All right,
with
what
the
are we
trade.
touching next? Okay, you wanted to hit this next.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not marking it with the trailers, unlike another thing I'm going to talk about, because the little sequence of Stitch hitting the sandcastles is really all we got, and to me, that's like nothing new. That is like I still have the same feeling that I got from the reveal they're doing a live action from D23, and that feeling is like Stitch looks like he's supposed to, I guess, but like show me something. Show me there's a reason for this movie to exist. Show me Lilo. Show me Nanish.
Do you want the reason for the movie to exist? Go into your wallet,
Yeah,
open up your
dude.
like, I don't know what you want me to
Uh,
tell you.
I know that's the reason, and I now have receipts about why that is the reason, and I'll talk about that more when I talk about one of the trailers because I learned something recently about one of the trailers that really it makes me a little conflicted, but mostly upset. But I'll get to that later. But
Okay.
um, well, uh, I said this when I spoke with D23, but to me, Stitch looks fine. I wish his colors were more vibrant blue, but again, I look at this, I say, yeah, no, that's Twitch, or yeah, that's Stitch. That's not,
We changed Sonic. We could change Stitch.
yeah. Like, that's clearly Stitch. It moves fine. He sounds fine. I would like to see him in his full like alien mode, like forearms, antenna, the spines, and everything.
Yeah, if they'd have done like a transition scene where like it's the scene from like him in the pound or whatever, and he suctions his arms down and pop and hides his antenna and everything, that would have been cool.
Yeah, and but this him them just basically showing this scene to me is just the marketing equivalent of just dangling shiny keys in front of people to hopefully please see our movie, please see our movie, and that tells me that either this movie is going to be fine and they're just overhyping it, or there's something they know people might not be receptive to and they're trying to distract from it as long as possible, because the release
It's
time is coming up if I recall. Stitch release date, live action. Yeah, May 23rd. Like, so if
I mean that's it is December 1st.
now,
You're I mean, granted, I'm not a professional like of animated movies and movie timelines and everything, but I would like to think that 5 months away from the release date of your movie,
yeah,
you have more than a 30-second trailer.
I agree with Griffin. Show me Jumpin', Gantu. I my best guess. I did think about this a little bit this like during the afternoon. I was working on stuff. There's one thing that does make sense to me. Um, December is a big like holiday time. and I would be willing to bet that they want to at least hold the trailer until like January or something. Just like, all right,
Maybe I could see that.
yeah, holidays are over. Y'all focus on that. Now focus on this. If we get a trailer in January, then everything I'm saying about them dangling their keys could all be hot air. But again, like, give me something to
But I mean,
work
you've got to
with.
call it like you get it, like you see it. And right now, this is what we see. So
Yeah,
you got to call it like you see it. If this is what you see, then you got to call it that way.
mhm. And I know people have a general disdain of Disney live action. I am mostly neutral on them. I most of the three live action movies from remakes I've seen, there's always like one or two elements they add or change that I very much like, and everything else is just assembly line Disney BS. It's just copy paste from the animated, like line for line, shot for shot. That like which is ends up being like 98% of the movie. That makes me wonder why did we have to do this? You're not going to bring anything new to the table.
Correct. You open your wallet
Yeah,
and you go find your little credit card and those funny three numbers on the back.
and uh, I'm gonna talk about this more when I talk about How to Train Your Dragon. Well, spoilers for one of the trailers, but when you do a remake, it is okay to do a shot for shot remake. It is absolutely okay to do a shot for shot remake. But to me, for that there has to be like time involved. Like no matter what, there has to be a reason to remake something. If it's a movie that was old and they just didn't have the technology to convey something, and they're like, oh, now we can do it. That was the case for things like King Kong. A lot of the
Right.
movies that we have like love nowadays are considered classics are remakes. The Thing, King Kong, Little Shop of Horrors, just for the ones that are in my general interest. But with Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, I these are not super old movies, and they're gonna be mostly CG. So like I just in general, I'm like, why would I go see this again? I'd kind of rather go see the originals in theaters, you know?
Okay. So since we're on the topic, I'm going to get on my high horse here because
About How to Train Your Dragon?
as you know, dragons are very special to me.
Yes.
I watched I watched the How to Train Your Dragon trailer, and I
Mhm.
looked at it and I went, my first thought was, dear God, a good live action dragon movie. Please, Jesus, be what Aragon wasn't.
All right. With that, I
So
think, yep.
that's sort of my point there of why remake this, why do this trailer. It's because Aragon was ass.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Yeah, the live action versions of Jungle Book and Aladdin were excellent films in their own right. They changed aspects and improved some. Okay, live action Jungle Book was fine, but like you said,
Live action Jungle Book was good.
yeah, but then brings to my point,
Actually,
something was
which one? Because
changed.
there's the old one and then the newer one, but
Uh,
that's neither here nor
even
there.
with Bill Murray and like yeah, with the one I'm thinking of, but even to that point, something was changed. There was a new perspective. There's more relating to the book than the Disney movie. There was something different. Like there
Different
was
elements, yeah. It
yeah.
wasn't just a copy paste job.
So yeah, like even though it wasn't objectively the best thing ever, I could look at this and go, I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I get to see something different, a different take on this story with some great characters. I want that for these movies. With Lilo and Stitch, I don't have anything. With How to Train Your Dragon, because I shifted over to that. We have a
Yeah.
trailer. I have very mixed thoughts. When I first saw the trailer, I laughed a little bit because some of the shots of the people, um, one of the things that I kind of have been looking up recently on YouTube, have you seen like the AI dark fantasy shit?
Yes.
Some of the shots in the trailer, I swear, like, did they just look up AI dark fantasy and just because some of the Vikings, seriously, but, okay, just speaking from just objective how it looks, Tooth looks great. The costumes look like the movie. Like anything objective looks fine.
Even
Obviously,
the scene where the dragons were flying around, the dragons looked good.
yeah,
They're like just the little bit of it. I didn't see anything that made me go, "Oh well, crap, that could have been done better." Like it looked fine.
it looked fine. And as far as the casting, I know expecting to get characters that look exactly like some of these people is absurd. You can never get someone who's built like a fucking brick house like Hiccup's dad. You can never get someone as jangly skinny as the
You
kid
can't. You just have to go to Scandinavia and
to
do
go
it.
to Scandinavia. The people they got, I think, are going to be fine. But as I was looking that up, there's a few small things that are just kind of whatever to me. Nick Frost is playing a oh god, I forget his name. The dude with the yellow mustache who had a missing leg, the blacksmith dude.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Nick Frost from like Shaun of the Dead and whatnot. He's playing that guy. Great casting choice. Um, Apparently he revealed that the backstory of how that character lost his leg is going to be slightly changed in the movie. And when I saw, it, I was like, really? Why? Like,
Because they felt it needed a change. You want things to be different. Here we are. Things are being different.
I guess like I'm all for things being different, but like there's some things that
It
like
needs to be a reason,
yeah, like I hope
or
there's a reason.
you can change that all you want, but like, does it actually contribute anything to the story?
Yes.
Now, that could be one thing that they could do. They could be changing it to where the backstory for the loss of the leg is more relevant to the story.
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, cool, go for it. But like, it kind of goes with that it's all changing something like that, especially of a well-known and rather liked franchise like How to Train a Dragon. You always have that other side of the coin where people are going to go, no, don't change it.
Yeah.
But like you said, if there's a reason for it, and you can, I don't want to say the word prove, but if you can prove that the reason for the change is valid and contributes and is a positive impact on the new product, on the remake, then by all means go for it.
Yeah. Like I want to see like some level of spin on this. Like maybe we do more from like the dad's perspective. Maybe we do more from the dragon's perspective. Because let's face it, How to Train a Dragon was wholly Hiccup's story, and that's fine. The but now I mentioned like the casting. There is some things that bug me about the movie in regards to the casting. Some of it's fine. The actor they got for Hiccup, he looks like a young Drake Bell. I just want to throw that out there.
He absolutely does. He
But
absolutely does.
but that's he looks fine for the role. He looks like Hiccup.
Correct.
The one that bugs me, and this is so confusing to me. Could they not get two people that are twins to play the twins? Like that's literally I don't understand.
You go find talented twin actors that both can act,
And
that
hell,
look like them.
and okay, they don't even have to be super talented. But like, here's the thing: they
I mean,
look
that's fair. The
so
twins are
different. If they were only a little bit different, whatever. But you have the guy who basically looks the part, like no fucking notes, and his twin sister is like a stereotypical caricature of every '90s female bully, like big muscles, freckles, ginger, and everything. I'm like, what? And I just put it side by side with the edited picture. Like these are different characters. Like like
no what you right. But again, just because they're twins doesn't mean they look the same. You can have non-identical twins.
that's fair. I think it's just it bugs
But
me.
I know that's
Yeah,
it deviates from the norm, which is what they
yeah.
were in the
That's
original material.
and that's the difficult thing whenever I talk about remakes is I want things to be different, but there are some key elements to me that always have to be the same. Like I used a picture of Hiccup holding his hand out to Toothless. That scene looks great. Toothless looks great. I hope he's as animated in this as he is in the movie. The worst thing this movie can be is boring to me, and that is a shame because I love the first How to Train Your Dragon. But no, 90% of the casting I see looks the part. Gerard Butler as the dad, great. Nick Frost as the blacksmith, awesome. You had that kid from
Back
Godzilla.
together.
Yeah, you had that kid from
Oh,
Godzilla versus
there we go. I'm
Kong.
back.
There we go. Okay,
Oh, maybe. Okay, I'm
I
back.
hear you. I hear you. Yeah, but yeah, no, like I was saying, like the casting, 90% I'm fine with. You have like Gerard Butler as dad, great. You got Nick Frost as the blacksmith, awesome. You got the kid from Godzilla versus Kong that was dating Millie Bobby Brown, being the nerdy fat kid in this, perfect. Like I don't really have any notes on the casting. I laugh at some of the shots because, like I said, the dark fantasy AI comparison. But much like with Lilo and Stitch, like I look at this trailer like this looks good, but like I wanna, I'm so torn because the thing I learned about this movie is the creator of the original is an active part of this, but the only reason he is an active part in this is because Disney XX basically told him, "Hey, we're gonna remake this movie with or without you," and then the creator's like, "Oh fuck," and he basically just like took the helm just to make sure they don't fuck it up too much. And knowing that,
Uh, that's
no, yeah,
that's kind of unfortunate, but I
that's
mean, at least he did. But it
absolutely,
still like feels forced.
yeah, great look for the creator and great look for the original movies. That tells me that this is at least going. I'm confident this is will at least be decent. Like I don't know if it'll be great. I don't know if it'll be groundbreaking. I think at the very least this movie will be fine. But time will tell. It I've been burned by live action remakes. Um, Beauty and the Beast. I love how they added Beast song, but I disagree with a lot of the hate on that movie. Like people, oh, my internet. Oh, Ellie's internet's on the fritz. He just messaged me, but I'll Disney. I think you mean DreamWorks. Oh yeah.
I'm here now though.
Oh yeah, just Dream. Yeah, DreamWorks execs. Yeah, not Disney, but Disney, DreamWorks. They're all at this point. Disney owns everything, but
I mean, yeah, everything is Disney.
these live action adaptations in general, um, like Beauty and the Beast, I don't think it deserves a lot of the hate. Like the common hate for Beauty and the Beast is, uh, oh gosh, the actress who played Belle, she was in Harry Potter and all those fucking movies. I can't think of her name. Everyone says, "Oh, she's a bad singer." Like, no, okay, she's an adequate, perfectly just middle of the road singer surrounded by amazing singers. So she just looks worse by
Right.
comparison.
She looks worse by comparison. Yeah.
Like, I'm always the advocate. Like, if something is good, praise it. If something is bad, uh like critique it, but if something's already bad, don't invent more things wrong with it to make it seem worse than it is. Like there's other problems with Beauty and the Beast. There's other problems with Aladdin. Like there could be problems with this, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like all these movies, all like the Godzilla movies I talked at length about a while ago. I praised them, but oh man, I could pick apart so fucking many of them. Like I
Like I said, my biggest takeaway for this trailer and for what I saw was my intense hatred for the Aragon movie resurfaced, and all I wanted was for this to not be a terrible, terrible. Like, just don't be Aragon, dear God, please do not be Aragon.
truth be told, I
The
think
minute they give, the minute they give Toothless a voice, I'm out.
yeah, truth be told, if this movie is good, if this movie is at all, at least it could be just worse, like just barely worse than the animated movie. If it's just if everyone agrees that this movie is at least good, then it will light a fire under Disney. Just as Griffin pointed out, this is DreamWorks. This is not Disney actually, and
Yet.
yet. Well, they're about to own, for God's sake, they own Miramax. I found out, but in general, if Disney and DreamWorks were to make live actions of their things, I I also believe that they should remake or make live action adaptations of movies that people love, but maybe didn't do so hot the first time. But or more importantly, can be adapted into live action without relying on CG for like 99% of it. Lion King.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
and you have a point there. Like they could go back because I mean, it doesn't take that long for a movie to become a cult classic, whether or not it was well received at the time it was released or not. I think you have a valid point there with, the stuff that has a cult classic, even though maybe it was released in the 80s, the 90s, or the early 2000s or whenever it was, it didn't, take off and have that immediate success. I think you have, but they've become cult classics over over the time. I think that's a valid suggestion for okay, remake those.
Yeah, and to illustrate my point is before you heard of a live action Snow White, I'm sure most people probably understood. Yeah, the Disney Snow White, decent fucking movie, and that opinion has not changed over time. It's a timeless classic, right?
Right.
But and nothing has
Don't touch
changed.
it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
nothing has changed. But there's three movies in Disney's repertoire that I like. If they reveal they're going to do live actions of these, I will give them a fair shot because I think they should be live action. Black Cauldron, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet. All of those I think could absolutely work
All
in
right, let me
live
think.
action.
So Black Cauldron could absolutely work live action. You yeah.
Yeah, all of those movies
Yeah,
have
no, I
the
think you have a point.
yeah all those
You
movies they
you would need CGI for some of it, but you could do
sure
the vast majority of it live action.
well sure yeah CG
Yeah.
is not
Yeah,
bad.
no, I don't have any argument against that.
Yeah, CG is not bad. I mean, look at Toothless on the How to Train Your Dragon bit. Like you could use CG.
Right. But I mean, like your point earlier, you could do CG, just don't make the whole movie CG.
Yeah,
Don't call it live action and the whole thing is CG.
a while ago in a recent episode, I made the point where the more CG you use, the less of a point it was to make it live action to begin with. I think that's true, but there is like a point where, like, yes, CG is definitely supposed to be used to some degree. I think the worst of it is Lion King because I don't see live action to me in that is in the heaviest fucking quotation marks for the recent Lion King and the new Mufasa.
Because we needed to see Mufasa die in higher quality.
I guess, and John Oliver is Zazu. I don't know.
But I
I
was out on that once Jeremy Irons wasn't voicing Scar. When they announced the casting, I was like, "Oh, Jeremy Irons isn't voicing Scar. I'm out."
yeah, it's really got one person back, but I don't know. But yeah, the three upcoming live action remakes that are I think coming out in the next year or two. There's How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, and Snow White. How to Train Your Dragon, I'm the most excited for. I just wish they some of the casting is just like what the fuck, and the little changes and little behind the scenes stuff has me wary. But knowing the creator is actively involved is making me cautiously optimistic. Lilo and Stitch, I'm very neutral on. Just
And I get that.
yeah, show me something about Lilo and Stitch. Show me a
Yeah, I
trailer.
kind of agree with that.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna praise how Stitch looks. He looks how he's supposed to. Show me a trailer of everything else in the movie.
Correct.
Show me the other half of this movie. Show me Lilo. Show me what this adventure is gonna be about. Then I will give my fair thoughts about it. And for Snow White, for other reasons, I'm not gonna get into because I will go on a tirade. I am not excited for that movie at all. I'm not gonna go see it. But to move
I wander
on
down the rabbit hole.
But to move on a little bit from remakes, the unfortunate thing about Disney doing those remakes, and the one movie even if it's not great, I want to be successful to send a message is Elio. So I got
Like I said, I knew nothing about it until I watched the trailer. And I will say that the trailer itself, the trailer did at least for what I got from it, I feel like the trailer did a good job of saying, okay, yes, this is the story of the movie, but this underlying theme is what the movie is actually about.
yeah,
And I feel like that was communicated very well in the trailer.
yes. It's like this obviously a kid who wants to belong. He's going one thing, but it like this is to me like a Disney kids movie at its finest, where like the general flow of where the movie's probably gonna go, you could probably predict like, oh, kid goes to a certain place, he thinks he wants to go, or learns he might have to go back home. Who knows? It might be different, but like general vibe. But this, but the all the small pieces, how everything fits together. This is an original story, and also there are some jokes
Yes.
that make me a little groan. There's the first joke I heard in the movie does make me laugh. Like, what are you doing here? I'm trying to get abducted. What?
Well, to
By
get abducted
aliens?
by aliens. By aliens. And like he's got to clarify. Like that one made me laugh. That one legitimately got me chuckle a little bit. I was
Yeah,
like, okay, I see, I see what you're doing.
yeah. Like I want, even if this movie isn't for me per se, because it's obviously a kids movie. I don't know if I'm going to end up seeing it in theaters, but because this is a much more original idea, I want this to
You
succeed.
want it to do well,
Yeah,
right?
I want, obviously I want Disney to be better. I think the first sign that Disney needs to change their staff, and actually they are. I heard this from a coworker before I went on my for Thanksgiving break. Looked something corroborated. The lady, the lady who's basically in charge of Disney's media stuff. South Park did a whole episode making fun of her, like make everything
Correct.
gay and lame. I can't think of her name, but she's leaving.
Yeah.
She's leaving in like February. Like
Wow.
a lot of like people in the high tippy top of Disney, they're just leaving because and they're doing a big old like leadership change. And to
Huh.
to me, the biggest misstep, um, or not the biggest misstep, but the
Star
biggest
Wars.
no, or rather not the biggest misstep, but the biggest sign that whatever they were doing wasn't working was their 100th anniversary, because they released two things that were supposed to be for their 100th anniversary: the movie Wish and a short on YouTube. And they just did like a little
That's
throw
short.
well, it's like 5 minutes. It's short, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw it.
now I watched Wish, so I can have um uh, the thing about Wish, Scream's anniversary. Nothing about Wish. I'm sorry, but a random background character that vaguely looks like Peter Pan, kinda, is not gonna fucking cut it for Disney's 100th anniversary. Like, there's elements of a good story there. Wish was not a good movie. Period. And they're like, it's like
Yeah,
what?
it's kind of the general consensus I heard was it was mid at best.
Yeah, yeah. It was boring, and there's obviously something they're trying to do, and you look at some of the characters' outfits and like who they're trying to emulate, and classic fairy tales that Disney covered. So you think they're going to be like one thing, and maybe this is supposed to be like a nexus point for all Disney, but it's not. It's super confusing and weird. So like their by the numbers assembly line whimsy, as Rap Metals called it, didn't do so well. But the little side project where he basically had all the characters from Disney taking a photo together, everyone universally agrees this was wholesome as fuck. This was amazing. This is a celebration of 100 years of Disney. Like, like,
Right.
and I think that really started telling shit. So we're doing something wrong here. Like so
I
I
mean, that's the thing. Like it's the age old thing of if you want something changed, it takes time usually.
yeah,
But if you want something changed, in order to send a message to a company, stop supporting their stuff, stop giving them money, and they'll start adjusting.
yeah,
Usually,
oh yeah. It's why like if you keep buying tickets to the remakes that are gonna be bad, then they're gonna they're gonna keep making stuff like that. I am not gonna go see Mufasa. As funny as I find it that there is basically Kimba the White Lion in the Mufasa backstory, which to me is the biggest fuck you to the creators of Kimba. Um, I I am not gonna go see that movie because I don't see a point. There's
but Mufasa.
I guess, look, I already saw Transformers 1. I don't need to see that story again.
Uh,
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, like, now that if you've seen Transformers 1, tell me you saw the trailer for Mufasa until, like, to some degree, those are going to be the same fucking story.
well, no, they're not. One's robots and one's lions.
Listen, you piece of shit. Oh. No, but no, Elio looks funny, and there is some potty humor in Elio. Like the last joke about like, "Oh, this is the most beautiful place. This is the toilet."
This is the yeah. that one I was like, okay, they've got to have the like little funny dumb jokes in here for the kids. I get it.
But I don't know. It looks
But I mean, it
fine.
looked good. It looked good. The writing was decent. They had jokes in there, kind of for everybody. And like I said, to kind of preface my whole thing with earlier is, I feel like the trailer did what trailers are supposed to do. It said, okay, here's what the movie's about, but it was also presented in a manner that let you see, okay, well, this is what the surface story is. This is what like the deeper meaning moral lesson of the story is.
Yeah,
And you could see that in the trailer.
yeah, yeah. I think it's fine. Distract from Disney a bit. This one I'm kind of including in the trailer talk because even though all we got was a teaser, it does confirm some key information that a lot of people were confused about. Alien Earth. Like the trailer does
Yes.
confirm that, considering if you did, like, I saw someone did a frame by frame about all the stuff that kind of appeared in the static, and it seems like this will connect canonically with some of the very recent Alien movies, and
Okay.
more importantly, this isn't going to be like, what if aliens invade Earth today? Spoiler alert, we're fucked. No, this is like Earth in like 2120, 100 years from
Correct.
now. So it's going to be kind of like a Whalen Utani.
Everything is Wayland Utani.
Everything is Whalen Utani. They're like, something happened to like make them know that aliens exist. So whatever we get is going to be an isolated instance. So a lot of conspiracy shit. But knowing these key details make me very excited because I don't know if you saw the last Alien movie that came out, Romulus.
I did not. I did not see Romulus.
It is the best Alien movie since Aliens. It is,
Wow.
dude.
That's that's a high bar. I might have to go check it out.
Like, me and Keelan have the same thoughts about this movie, about how refreshing it was that there is no stupid characters in this movie. Whenever they made a decision, I was saying to myself, maybe they should do this, and they did the exact right thing they were so fucking supposed to. And everything they're dealing with is consequences to the right action because they're dealing with fucking xenomorphs, and I love that. But
That is like, you just made my heart happy. Like hearing you say that.
now
Oh, that hits me in a place I didn't know I needed to be hit.
it's on Disney Plus. But so that means yes,
Pretty sure I have Disney Plus.
since it came from an alien queen, xenomorphs are Disney princess is confirmed. But but
No,
now
it means they're queens. So does that make the drones princesses?
probably now the big thing that I love about this, about Alien Romulus, and what gets me more excited for Alien Earth, Alien Romulus did the impossible to me. Is It is the missing link of Alien movies. Everything recently, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and all the originals, it connects all of them. There is now a coherent story that connects all the weird shit that H.R. Geiger was trying to put everything we've been trying to do with the recent Alien movies and connecting it to the Nostromo and the happenings of Aliens. Like, there is now a connecting thread. It is the missing link in the Alien franchise to me. But
And that was one thing I was curious about with this trailer was, okay, where in the timeline does this fit?
it
And so
so
now that I have that information from you,
okay, I will tell you where it takes place because you learn immediately when it takes place, like in like the first second of the movie. This takes place right after the events of the first movie, like right
okay,
after.
that's what I thought it was. That was my that's what I got from it. I was like, is this like the, not super early, but early from the movie timeline perspective of, okay, is this like way back occurring during the first couple movies? Like, where is this happening? Because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is stuff reminiscent of the first movie,
Mhm.
and that was what I was picking up, but I was too lazy to confirm. So
So yeah, like the obviously the more alien movies you're aware of, the better. But I'd say the two most important alien movies to be aware of, like what happens in them going into this, are the first one and Prometheus.
Okay, well, I've seen both of them, so
So it's all, and I also believe that the difference between loving this movie and just thinking it's pretty good all hinges on how you feel about the last like 30 minutes. I'm not gonna say what happens.
that's fair.
The movie goes places.
Like space.
Yeah, yeah, like, but that's the thing. I'm excited for Alien Earth now that we have confirmation. Roughly, we have a timeline. We have more clarity on what is going on. So I am excited for Alien
And it's
Earth.
on Hulu, and you get to get your series binge fix.
Yes, hell yes. Now, and the last trailer I want to talk about, like I know we talk about remakes and tyrants of that is the only reason I wanted to talk about the Wallace and Gromit trailer is in a sea of just people either remaking stuff or trying to connect everything together. Wallace and Gromit is just consistently that I just want to tell a funny story about a guy and his dog.
Right. It's a very good like.
It's
It's a
refreshing.
simple. Yes, it's a simple. I won't say easy, but it is a simple, not complex. You don't have to. You're just able to watch it and enjoy it. You don't have to think. You don't have to know all of these different things. Like you can just go. You know what you're getting into immediately, and it's just nice.
Yeah. And truth be told, there's not a whole lot for me to say on Wallace and Gromit. Like I've only seen the Were Rabbit thing once. It's been a minute. I don't remember a lot of it, but the shorts I watched as a kid, I remember the feeling I get when watching them, and that's just like, oh, this is nice. It's just pleasant and funny. Like, and
Exactly. It's just fun.
yeah, and then so you watch the trailer, it's like, oh, what's happening? The inventor makes a zany garden gnome, and then the evil penguin nemesis is all like, haha, my garden gnome, here, go do a crime. What's happening? That's it. That's the story.
Wacky adventures ensue.
Yeah, it's a Tex Avery cartoon out of claymation. Or more, it's a British Tex Avery cartoon and claymation. That's yeah.
Yes.
Uh, I
And hijinks ensue.
like. I think I might just take a day where I just watch a bunch of Wallace and Gromit, just because again, amongst the sea of stuff, I have to. A lot of stuff I watch nowadays, I feel is homework because I'm trying to like, keep up with stuff.
That's fair.
I wanted there to be a movie I talk about because either yesterday or today I wanted to go see Moana 2. I didn't get a chance to. I might go see it this next weekend. That or werewolves, but we'll see. Because I know I have
Porque
movie
no los dos.
probably both. Well, before I go into our main topic, have you seen the trailer for a movie called Werewolves? 'Cause I'm gonna keep
I have
hyping that
not,
movie
but I
up.
can look it up.
Do because the premise of this movie is basically like one day suddenly there's basically what they call a wolf moon, just like I say a red full moon, and like a solid percentage of the population turned to werewolves. Shit happened. Cut to like a while later, like they're still in recovery phase where there's about to be another wolf moon, and basically everybody is just hunkering down purge style with the guns like, all right, who's gonna be a fucking werewolf?
Hmm.
It's like a combination of the purge and a whodunit and just really good
Yeah,
werewolf
it's
effects. Yeah.
it's Purge, but everyone's playing werewolf.
Yes, and like this movie is like on the hinge. Like this could either be like so stupid it's amazing, or one of the best action movies I've ever seen. And like this could be an absolute dumpster fire, or just one of the best things ever. I'm excited to find out which.
Well, I mean that's the thing. If it's a dumpster fire, at least it could be an enjoyable dumpster fire.
Yeah, yes, it is. But like I might go see both. And Griffin says Wallace and Gromit is the quintessential example of a comfort watch for her. Yeah, and there's a new comfort watch coming soon with Vengeance most foul. Yes, that's the
FOWL.
yes. Get it because it's a bird. Foul.
Puns.
um, with that, I want to go last thing before we go into our main topic: new and recent films. As I mentioned, I wasn't able to see much. I talked about it a bit last time, but now that I've finished it and had some time to reflect, watched all of Arcane. Because,
Okay.
like, have you watched
I
season
started
two?
watching it. And for whatever reason, it just didn't. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it was just
Really?
because I didn't try hard enough. Maybe it was because I didn't give it enough time. But like, I'm not super big on sitting down and watching things. Normally, if I have stuff going, it's background noise,
Yeah, fair.
which kind of ties into kind of the topic we're getting ready to tackle, which is YouTube is the new TV. And so I never like I enjoyed it for what it was. I liked what I saw, but it never hit me enough for me to like, okay, I'm gonna stop down and I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah. So I can assure you, it is good. Like to me and everyone who's watched it, it is now the golden the gold standard. Like if you're going to adapt something like a video game or something else, to me, Arcane is the gold standard. It is very good. Like if you know League, it's better, but even if you don't, it's very very good. Season two, upon reflecting, some of the last episodes are a bit rushed. Just like slight pacing concerns, but not by a lot. I would say like if I were to give a season by season rating, season one easy like a 95. Season two is like an A minus, like a 91. Like it suffers a little bit because of pacing, just not a lot.
But not a lot, not enough to detract heavily from it.
Yeah, and if you're a lore, I know you're a lore buff like me, but
Yeah.
if you like watch it, pay attention, like you'll see characters, you'll hear their name, and you're like, no, no, I know what you do, I know what's gonna happen.
I don't like this. I've read this before.
This is the name I call it. It's MacGuffin. You're like, shoot it now, shoot him now, kill, murder.
Destroy.
I know Griffin watched all of Arcane. He knows. He now knows why I feel about a certain character in Piltover when he was revealed. Um, but okay, so I won't go into extreme details about what happens in the show. Obviously, like if you haven't seen Arcane yet, please watch it. Like I know it's a lengthy watch. Each episode's 45 minutes. There's 9 episodes per season. Griffin says, "Help me, I'm feeling." Um, but it is a very good show, and there's such wonderful out of context spoilers, like Vi ate a cupcake.
I mean,
That's your out of context spoiler. Vi ate a cupcake. You're not
well,
getting.
see, it's well. The funny thing is you're like, oh, Vi ate a cupcake, and then because of what I know about League and the mechanics of some of the characters that are in the show and their abilities within the game,
You think you know, you don't. That's why it's out of context spoiler. Griffin knows. But they also use this as a vehicle to introduce like new characters in the league, obviously, and uh, but
and sell skins to make money.
oh, dude, there is a lot of bullet. Okay, I know this is a movie thing, but there is a lot. Riot is they are ooh they are flying too close to the sun right now because there is now two controversies with Riot about how much certain skins cost in the past year.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, there's like some esports player that's basically like the league players. I don't fucking know, but there was like a premier skin of the champions he played, and the Aria one was literally $400. Yeah, no, nobody liked that. No one bought that fucking skin. And now they're doing it with Arcane Season 2. They have a new skin for Jinx that looks like her Season 2 look, including the stuff at the end of the show, $250 because of the new animations. And like, man, remember when Gentleman Shogath cost basically $5?
Remember when basically everybody cost $5?
Yeah,
Or a skin went on sale, like, oh, that one's normally $10. They can get it for $5 now. I can swing that.
yeah.
Yeah, back when we were broke college students,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Savage Five remembers. No, like the I'm glad they released skins that reflected how the characters look in the show. I mean, obviously, it's new skins. I don't know if they're free or if they were. I can't get them now. Like I just have not logged into League in some weeks. But
Neither have I.
but the fact that the Jinx skin was listed for 250. They're like, oh, but it's three skins at once. Then sell it for 25. like,
Right.
like 200 like 10 plus 10 plus 10 does not equal 250. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It does if you add an extra zero.
Fuck. You forgot about the tax. I don't know.
Imaginary numbers.
Yes, but no, like back to Arcane. God, it's hard to talk about it with spoilers, or without spoilers, I should say, especially because they do, and me and Alex talked about this the last podcast, but the way they structured Arcane is in a way that I kind of hope other shows structure it, because they did 9 episodes and they released it in batches. Act one, here's the first 3 episodes of season one. Act two of season one, the next 3 episodes, and here's that final act of season one. They did season two the exact same way, just 3 episodes at a time. I think releasing in batches is the smart move. I'm still used to weekly releases and just the TV time when I was a kid. So there's always a part of me that does appreciate a weekly release or releasing in batches, because I do think you appreciate something more when you have time to sit with it. Like, let me watch like an episode or two at a time. Let me digest it. Let me think what's going to happen, and then watch the next stuff.
Or you get the people that don't want to have to wait and they just want the whole series dropped at once because they want to be able to binge it.
Yeah, and the problem now, here's the thing, that happened with One Piece, and it had like the top of the fucking charts for a week, and then
Right.
and yeah, it's
Because
just
once everybody watches it, your fire burns out immediately. You're not able to keep vested interest and eyeballs on it constantly because you blew your load all at once.
exactly like I know people want to binge, and if you want to binge something, it's fine. Like I know people who wait for the show to be fully released so they can binge it. That's fine,
Right.
but like there's a lot of people that don't necessarily want to binge it, that want to watch it like episode by episode, and maybe it's because they don't have time to binge it. Some of the shows that are
That part
on right now are like the episodes are like 30 to 45 minutes long. So
or
yeah,
longer.
or longer. Yeah, like granted, like my weekends are fairly open, but I usually end up doing chores. So my usual Saturday is like I'll like gather all my laundry, I'll put on I'll maybe like recently it's been like the new episode of Dragon Ball Daima. Also, so far, I could talk about that as well after Arcane. That's been actually pleasant surprise. But when you watch all these things in batches, like yeah, you're watching in the background, you have all the time, and by the time it's done, your chores are done, and you can move on to whatever else you're doing. Like when you're older than like 25, you might only have like 2 to 3 hours tops of you time. You may not
Right.
always want to watch a movie. like
And sometimes depending on what you do and how your day was, you don't have the capacity, the bandwidth to sit and digest something.
yeah, yeah. Some days like I don't want to think about anything right now. I just want to put on some music and doom scroll through
Yes.
uh, time to perpetuate anxiety. No,
Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah, no. But the other thing I just mentioned, Dragon Ball Daima, that's a whole other thing. I know that one's gonna be like 18 episode. No, I remember at one point seeing an episode count. I think it was like 18 to 20s. 25 episodes, something like that. We're on like episode 9, I which is to me like we're clearly like maybe a third of the way through now at most, at least. I can at least say first impressions of Daima. It is like classic Dragon Ball in the best
Okay.
way possible. Like it's just like goofy fun shit. Like all it is, just like goofy fun shit, but with characters that are as powerful as they were when like they fought Boo.
Hijinks ensues. Planets explode.
Yeah, like in the new episode, like there's this old like um this is one of those kind of a spoiler, but this is like one of those facts that is revealed very early on, and it's like so in the demon world there are Dragon Balls, but there's only 3 of them, and each one is guarded by like some massive warrior created. And there's this old guy that they're in a town at the first Guardian. It's like, oh yeah, we want to just get the Dragon Balls. It's like, oh, yo, you kids, because Goku's, for reasons I won't get into, is a kid this time. And he's like, oh, kids have such imagination. Then when Goku actually goes to fight it and actually starts surviving, the old man just, what the fuck? Just like everything is just has this goofy Dragon Ball vibe, and no one can understand why Goku is strong. Like he does a passive joke about how bad of a dad he is, dude.
Oh wow, he's become self-aware.
Oh yeah, like at one point, one of the characters the Demon was flying with, like he's just being him. Like I don't understand how you could possibly raise a kid. He's like, well, I did. To be fair, I didn't really raise him. I
He's not wrong.
I just
Because I was talking to somebody about this the other day of like for the time that Goku was around, he was a good dad. The problem is he spent half of the series dead
yeah,
or off world somewhere.
yeah. Goku wasn't a bad dad because he was dead most of the time. He was a bad dad because the few times he was there, like he went like half the time he was a good attentive father, and the other time the time training took priority. Because there's a lot of shots where like in Super and even Z, where actually, and I'm so glad actually Super has a lot of these in the early parts, where he is just like spending time with Goten, like just riding a tractor with Goten, like chatting and flying around, just being with his son. And like he's clearly when he's there, he's trying. Like, come
Right. The
on.
problem was that yeah, well, I mean, you think about it. The start of Dragon Ball Z, he was dead. And then you hit the Saiyan saga, and he's just separated from everyone else because he was coming back from being dead. And then he's off world and shows up after the Namek saga, and it was, oh, androids are coming. We have to train. Can't take you to the park, son. I've got to practice punching you in the face. And so, and then like the Cell saga happens, and then he dies. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's there for like 7 years of Gohan's entire life.
Yeah. And okay, so Dragon Ball is actually a good segue because to go into YouTube. Now, when I talk about YouTube being the modern TV, like I said, the idea with that is like millennials, boomers, whatnot, we're so used to just channels like surging and just kind of hopping on, like go to a specific channel and see like, oh, I just feel like watching this time I want to watch a movie, or this time I want to watch an animal documentary, or this time I want to watch something funny. Like y'all know, everyone knows the feeling. Everyone who grew up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s is well aware of that feeling. But who actually has cable or who actually has TV nowadays? Realistically, uh, the equivalents we have, one side is streaming. Obviously, people can just watch whatever movie, whatever show they want between different streaming services. But the other side, whenever you just kind of want to just channel surf or just kind of listen to something passively, for all of its faults, YouTube has become that. And when I started this podcast to talk about movies and like new things, different subjects, kind of brush the good and the bad. This episode, I wanted to just touch on original stuff on YouTube, specifically not just the idea that yeah we're just kind of running through channels, but like the series that even if they're based off of something that we know, time and care was taken by these creators, like all the writing, all of the editing, everything was done by them. Sometimes they'll make a series, sometimes they'll make their own feature length movie, and I'll talk about some of them. The reason that I think Dragon Ball is a good segue is actually because of a good, well-known star, Team Four Star. I wouldn't necessarily count. Well, obviously, Dragon Ball Abridged kind of counts, but the one that I really want to talk about is Hiffle.
Yes, absolutely. Hiffle's phenomenal.
Hiffle's funny as fuck. I love the last episode with fucking Broly. Who said his name? I heard his name.
Exactly. No one said his name. No, never. Someone definitely here said his name.
like, like when you go to the everyone like Team Four Star is one of the to me one of the big examples. Like obviously other creators have made movies like Smosh and Game Grumps and the like. And I know in a previous conversation to touch on it very briefly, there was mentions of like the Smosh movie and the Game Grumps movie. I Here's the thing with those, they had a team involved, like a large team involved, and there was some Hollywood backing. The things that I want to touch on are wholly independent YouTube things. Like basically people that are like Kickstarter is one thing because that's just proof that the fans love you, but like these are people like all of the writing is them, all of the editing is them and their team, all of the acting is them and their team. This is just independent projects that have blown up. And there are some big ones now, but there's also a lot of small ones that deserve a lot of love and really emphasize that when you get down to it, this level of independent creativity that we saw in like the TV in like the 80s and 90s is now on YouTube. It's just harder to see because there's millions of more,
Algorithms.
yeah, algorithms, and there's millions of more channels. With Hiffle, like they basically told like, hey, we have Dragon Ball Z, we have all these stories, and they started making these shorts about like not so much about the Dragon Ball characters, but the specific niches and nuances with their abridged versions of the characters. They took a
Right.
pre-existing base and it's like let's actually make something new with this. And they're like hiring other like creators they're bringing back Taka 101, Devil Artemis, all these
Devil
other,
Artemis.
yeah, and they're bringing this big 3D animated comedy series. I wish they'd release more frequently, but I don't know what else to say. It's fucking funny, and there's other things that I
It
personally
is.
want to talk about. But uh
It is. No, and I think what sets it apart and why I think they did a good job with it is like you just mentioned, they are able to explore more things with their versions of the characters, but they're able to do it in a manner that isn't ever really seen or discussed or covered in the mainline material. Like
yeah,
you don't really get to see the villains really doing much in Hiffle, which gives them a vast amount of creative liberties to create and develop their own storylines using their versions of the characters.
I mean, how else are we going to confirm that Raditz is fucking Dodoria?
Correct.
This is important lore information.
It is important lore information. It is very critical to the backstory everywhere.
Yes.
Because now you know that Dodoria was doing the begging speech to everyone.
Uh, I don't want to like sit down and talk about just how excited I am for the next episode and break down the latest episode of Hitful. I want to just talk about it as a whole and how impressive it is for Team Four Star for like Manny Pator and all them that they can consistently write these characters in such a unique way, even when we have. We've reached a weird point, and I hope Bandai Namco Toei, I hope they realize that these abridged versions of some of these characters are more prominent in our minds than the actual versions of these characters.
For sure. And it's a real and why that is simple. It's because like take Tien for example. Like Tien in the main show, like outside of the Cell Saga, is just kind of there. Like, he has his one moment in the Cell Saga, he has like one moment in the Saiyan Saga in the fight against Vegeta and Nappa, and then he's just kind of there. And Team Four Star takes that and goes, okay, he's there, but let's find a way to get him involved and make his character actually relevant, even if it's just through dialogue. And the other thing that I like that Team Four Star did, especially with handling their characters, that they've stayed true to, is they've taken all of the qualities about the character that they are the characters that they are canonically known for, their personalities, their traits, and then just cranked them up to 11
Mm-hmm.
and just let them go wild. And I think that really helps bring some of the characters like Tien that kind of get overshadowed in the mainline stories to be more prominent in our thoughts when we're like, okay, cool. What when you think about Tien, it's like I don't think I don't the Tien, like when I think of Tien, there's two versions of Tien. I think of one in Dragon Ball Fighters because he was one of my favorite characters to use in Fighters, and two is the Team Four Star version of him because he's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, have you played Sparking Zero yet?
I have not. It's on the to-do list.
It is TN is fun in Sparking Zero because he has the dot on ray and all of the there's some level of just like, oh, which beams move the fastest, which ones have a charge time. TN's does not have a charge time. He basically just goes pew and just like a fucking quick draws his laser beam. So as long as you're locked on, like dot on ray, dot on ray, dot on ray.
So it does the same thing as in what's the other one? God, I just lost the name. Anyway, the one with the time patrol, Xenoverse.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of similarity with that, and I think with everything I mentioned previously about like what series on Netflix are going strong and how people are reacting to certain like heavy heavy like just company backed projects and like all this corporate meddling in certain things, how much they're not succeeding, but other fan projects are. I mean, not to toot Godzilla's horn too much, but for God's sakes, Godzilla minus one costs like $15 million, which is absurdly low. And
That is obscenely low.
and if you've seen the movie, you know it is one of the it is, to me, I consider it the best Godzilla movie ever. It won Godzilla an Academy Award after 70 years. Like, there is a statement to be made. Like, the answer to making movies isn't throw money at the problem. The answer to making movies is make it good.
Bleh.
It's like,
I don't have good ideas. What I do have is good piles of cash.
then give that cash to the people who do actually have good ideas.
But I don't want their ideas. I want more cash.
I know you had a series to you wanted to talk about. You mentioned the No Evil, right?
Yes, yes, very much. That is one that I don't remember how I came across it. I don't remember if it was back in the day you or DJ showed it to me. I don't remember if I stumbled across it on my own. It was all a fever dream, and I've slept since then, so I do not remember how I found it. But it is one of the best series that I've come across on YouTube because while there are characters in it where I'm like, oh, why is this character here? I don't like this character. You still are invested in the stories. And for me, being the lore junkie that I am and enjoy mythologies, No Evil is very good about that because it takes inspiration from a lot of North and Central American mythologies and kind of wraps them all up together with some of the various characters. And there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a companion comic that goes with it that I haven't read because I'm a casual, and called Brother Swan. And the comic Brother Swan supposedly is supposed to have a lot of other information in it to give more context to the stuff that's going on in the No Evil story on YouTube and gives more context to the characters and more backstory and more things like that um, to give a better understanding. But it's not required. You can sit and watch it, and while you may not fully understand like the lore and why the characters are acting the way they are, and you may not fully understand how the world works, but it almost has a sense of the world is exploring itself as you watch it, and things make sense as you watch it, and you start to learn. And even some of the stuff that you're like, well, I don't really get it, it doesn't detract from the story. It doesn't make it any less impactful. It doesn't make you go, well, I don't understand what's going on. No, you can understand what's going on. Despite maybe not having all of the pieces, you can still see the puzzle. And the character dialogue is great. Um, the lady that wrote the series and does all the stuff voices a couple of the characters. Um, they've had they've had the same cast working on it and doing the voice acting work on it. I think since the series came out, it's like the same 7 to 10 people.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's a passion project.
and it's just good. It is, and it started off as a passion project, and then it like became like, oh well, we this is more than just a passion project. Then they started doing like Q&A podcasts and animation podcasts. Well, they would be sitting there animating stuff, and then doing Q&As with the fans and all kinds of stuff. And it just, and I think that's something else that YouTube adds that you don't really get from any other medium, is the ability for an animator or a voice actor or whatever to be working on a project and to be able to hit a button and start talking to the fans.
Yeah.
And as a fan, it goes a long way when you're really passionate about something to meet, I mean not meet, but to interact with someone that is a part of that and to tell them, hey, I love what you're doing. It's great. It can be something simple, but it gives you that extra feeling of connectedness, whether it's through Patreon or through YouTube streams or even Twitch streaming or whatever, to be able to have that level of connection and interactivity with the creators of projects and things that you as a fan enjoy, I think really helps pull people in and keep them loyal, because you feel to a level involved in a part of the process, and that has a very lasting effect on keeping you interested in continuing your interest in whatever that project might be. And I cannot speak enough of No Evil. I love the series. I love the dialogues. Just characters complaining that they're injured by saying I've got holes in me. Like, it's just good. The dialogue is clever and witty, and the characters mesh. It's very well done.
Like the benefit to all these unique things on YouTube, all these YouTube shows, it's like a wild frontier. There doesn't have the quality control that you would expect with like big budget productions, but they also don't have the time constraints. Like any time constraint on a YouTube series is entirely self imposed. Like but No Evil
That's true.
doesn't have
I
any
hadn't thought about that.
yeah, No Evil doesn't have any set release schedule. Like I know there's been some dry months, but there's also sometimes where they release one short, and then a week or two later they'll release another one, and it's very inconsistent. But the people are still actively working on it. Um,
Right.
one thing I do love about No Evil is they do a good job of making these characters seem both very powerful but also very weak at the same time. Because these are
Very much.
yeah, these are characters that are very mortal.
They're animal spirits, and
Yeah,
you're like, okay, cool, they're super powerful, and like in one scene they're kicking ass, and in the next, you know, they're getting their asses kicked, and it's like,
yeah.
all
Like
right, either
they
what
could
is power balancing?
yeah they could do all these magical things like shapeshift, control water, like who he can like throw his eye around, and it's barely
Yeah, he can disconnect his eyeballs. Yes,
uh, but vice versa. Like, they could just like fight just one dude and just like be on the ropes with it. Like it's such a weird level of balancing, but it never doesn't make sense. Like
Right. No, and you kind of have a point there. I feel like a lot of the characters they have like unique abilities, but there's nothing there that like truly really sets them above and beyond in the extent of like sort of like a traditional shonen would, where the main character, can flick his wrist and a planet explodes, and there's just some Joe Schmo there. I mean, the characters are stronger than the average person, but not so much stronger that the average person isn't a threat.
yes, they're literally D&D characters.
You're not wrong. They kind of are. They kind of are,
uh,
and not high level ones.
and to that end, most of the series we'll talk like I want to talk about is they're usually based off of something. The Shikusa series, the one that was like first in my mind when I put YouTube on the wheel last time was Neebs Gaming, but not their main series. As much as I could talk about all of their like supercuts and all their gaming series because they do a lot of improv and try to actually make some level of cohesive story in everything they do.
Get it? Get it?
Like I could
Say
talk,
it.
no, I could talk about that,
I know you were going with this, and I'm about it.
but they did a movie called Tombstone,
Yes, they did.
and well, okay, there's two things they did. First, they did a series. It started on The Escapist. This is where I discovered them several years old, called Duralius and Associates. Oh my god, Duralius and Associates is so funny. It's like, what are you gonna replace the Archer with? Well, I'm Ladder Guy.
Yeah, yeah. Or the Duralius, I've got to go deal with some family issues. I don't know how long I'll be back. All right. They're walking, just come on back whenever you're ready. And then he just shows up like 30 seconds later. Yeah, it did not take me as long as I thought.
Like, I think DJ had a very good explanation of Duralius and Associates. It's basically a DM stuck in his own joke campaign. Like, his Duralius is
That's
entire.
accurate. That's
Darius
accurate.
takes everything seriously. Is entirely serious. No one else does.
But nobody else does at all.
Like, they'll take him seriously sometimes, but that's about it. It's a world where you cure zombies by having someone who isn't infected bite the zombie.
I mean, if they can bite us and spread the zombie plague, the science checks out that by biting them back, the reverse would be true.
Yes, it also doesn't like. Obviously, there's comedy. The Neebs and Napster do the art for. They did it for the movie. They do it for Darius Associates. They do a very particular art style that lends itself well to talking because it's like cutouts and like different parts of the body they could just move around as needed, do different hands. You'd think it wouldn't be good for action, but so like the last episode where they do like this big fight scene against the like, oh man, was that fun! Like, and it started out the best way. Like, was that the signal? This is the signal. Oh shit!
No, right.
um, I I think the years of improv just doing games, like they've developed this look comedy and like they started just writing this shit. And these are not these are a bunch of drunk rednecks who just wanted to make something funny on YouTube and they've exploded it into a whole damn career. Like the other day I went to the 7 Days to Die a fan event, the Blood Moons thing. The fact that a gaming company is actively working with them to promote a new game and like doing live showcases at Tufts Brewery, so it's like they clearly made something of themselves to go from a bunch of drunk 20-year-old rednecks in North Carolina to like one of the longest running series on YouTube.
Drunk 30-year-olds
Yeah.
getting paid to host events at a brewery.
Yes. Oh.
Every redneck stream.
Oh God. Oh yeah. And I got to meet two of them when I went to the brewery. I got to be in line to meet Neebs, and before that, just at one point, we were waiting for them on stage to because there was like a big pavilion, all the gaming set up, and a big screen behind us. We could see what they're doing. Everyone was gathering because it was about to start, and Astro came up behind me and some other people like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Like, "Oh, what the fuck!" Like they're still so like they're clearly more at home, just like talking with the nerds and just like us, and I very much appreciate that. It's why I definitely gravitate more towards the YouTube side than like anything. As much as I love movies and I love going to the theater, it's why I always have a strong love for like YouTubers and like YouTube series. Like Neebs Gaming is like a big component of that. Like,
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to something I kind of mentioned earlier is, you can have conventions where you can go meet people that were in things. I mean, my poster for um, John Delancey that I got autographed at Fan Fest is sitting right there. But like, it's it's different for to reach out and to connect with um, individuals on that level because of their success and their, their careers. Whereas on the YouTube schedule, like, you go to this fan event and there's the Neves gaming crew, and you're able to sit and potentially have a longer conversation with them and actually like shake their hand and have more than a 10-second conversation with them, and then you get that too through commenting on the YouTube section or things like that.
yeah, the
And I feel like that's something that's an advantage that the YouTube and other media like it have.
mhm. But before we go, the last specific thing that I wanted to talk about, it kind of touches on it's to me as a story like the biggest benefit to like independent creators, YouTube, all these original creators is like basically just how much resilience they have. If like or rather the difference between the good ones and the great ones is how much resilience they have. I don't know how much of it you watched. I can't remember if you're into them as well. Bruva Alphabusa, the guy did a
Yes,
so I love Emperor Text a speech device. I don't think I'm alone in that. It is a great,
I am very sure you are not.
but like how much of a success story is it for them? That would basically they when they were unable to do anything else with Warhammer 40k, when they basically couldn't do Emperor Text to speech anymore, they're like, but we want to do something. Let's do this obscure
Let's
as fuck RPG and make a new
let's do
series.
Vampire at the Masquerade and
Yeah,
use half of the characters that we just take our Warhammer 40k cast and make them hunters in Vampire at the Masquerade.
like and they've made no shade to the people to like you or Leighton or DJ. I love your DM skills, but when I think of like one of the greatest DM storytellers, I do think of Speaker D. I don't know if you've watched his playthrough of like Norfolk Wizard game. He is an amazing storyteller, and he lets that just bleed into the writing of these shows. I love the writing like for this show. And like how much resilience they had to be like, oh, we can't do Warhammer anymore. Fuck y'all! I'll write something else and make it big. Like,
And we'll use our characters. We'll use the Emperor, Dorn, Kitten, and I just lost his name. Um,
Magnus.
Magnus. Change nothing about their characters and have them still work.
Just add a bunch of new characters on the side. Like I just, ah. And the best part is like you can look at it from that perspective, and yeah, oh yeah, it's clearly the same characters from text to speech, but there's its own little world of intrigue. Like my favorite
Right.
character right now in their Hunter the Parenting is still Kevin. Like they just did a short that was released yesterday about like what Kevin is doing in the police precinct right now. He just have you seen it yet?
I haven't. It popped up because I was like, it'd been a minute since I'd seen any of them, so I was going through and rewatching some of them earlier. I think I got through like the first 3 episodes, and then tangent went off on a tangent, and then ended up doing like the audio files, and then the deep dive into um the different types of the audio files explain the different types of vampires and ghouls.
Oh shit. Basically, the new one, it's just a little short about what he's doing in the police precinct with Detective Sergeant Guy Chapman, which is just. I won't. It's a very short one. I won't spoil the comedy, but just it
The
is.
the episode that introduces Chapman.
Big D's guide to getting arrested.
Yes, Big D's guy to getting arrested in police interrogations. His reasoning for being okay with Gould is so wholesome, but it's completely offset by the fact that he's an addict. He's 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 doing meth for immort, like he's doing the worst possible thing, but he's doing it for like the best reason.
Meth will help me be a good dad.
Yes, that's exactly it. If I'm high as fuck, I can carry my kids around even when they're 30.
Oh my god.
And it kind of what you touch on with the writing and everything is like that episode is a perfect example of you get to see just how unhinged the characters are, but you never, like, up until like the very end of that video, you don't know for sure if they're right about Chapman being an agent or not.
You don't know how
And
much
you
of,
have
about Big D is.
right, you don't know which way it's gonna go, so you're like, okay, is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he? And then every time Big D is like, yeah, I've got him. Oh well, maybe he's not. Oh yeah, I've got him. As the consumer of and the watcher and the enjoyer of the audio and the episode, you're going, yeah, crap, I don't know which one he is either. And you low key get invested because you don't know. It's the ability to make it unpredictable for me
Yeah.
keeps me invested, because if I'm able to figure out something early, I'm going to get bored with it because the mystery is gone.
Yeah.
So being able to have it like, well, you don't really know which way it's going to go because it could go either way is a testament to their ability to then to write and keep people on their toes.
Oh, it. I'm glad that all of the writing they have done so far is just getting all. If you haven't watched it yet, watch Norfolk Wizard Game. Like it is a perfect encapsulation of how what these chaotic people do in their D&D sessions. Because at one point you basically have a basketball player just basically having an alpha male face off against a monkey with a gun.
Look, the monkey had it coming.
Somebody would say that. I also love the world that they use for just type of the parenting and this specifically Norfolk Wizard Game, because they make it very clear that there is fucked up shit in this world, and like it is both a blessing and an ignorant curse to be counted amongst the mundane.
And to be fair, that is the same thing in most iterations of the universe that um the hunting happens, or Vampire the Masquerade, or Werewolves of Blood Moon, like, because all that happens like within the same universe. um it it kind of does like that, not necessarily grim dark to the level of 40k does, but it still very much has an essence of, no, it absolutely sucks nuts to be normal in this universe. Like, you are not going to have a good time at all.
Yeah. Now, I would be remiss. I know I mentioned Norfolk was last the most important thing, but there are more notable things that obviously started on YouTube. They're more independent creations that got bigger over time. The biggest examples of these are Hell of a Boss and um, Has Been Hotel.
Right. with
Uh,
Has Been Hotel like getting a whole like
yeah.
professional production team to back it and a studio and everything.
Now, I don't want to go into too much detail about those because I think I will just say the success they're getting is well warranted. They are very good shows. There was a new episode of Hell of a Boss, a great fucking episode. Like the creators will do everything in their power to make every episode a musical at this point. I'm pretty sure, but
I mean, there's some good VAs on that team, so
I mean, when one character started singing, there was a background character that was just I swear, just a horny parrot, just like, oh yeah, sing it. But but uh, no, the success of those is warranted, and two and others are worth bringing up. One is Glitch Entertainment, the people who have made Murder Drones and The Amazing Digital Circus, which right before this we got a teaser for episode 4. Side note, you haven't watched Amazing Digital Circus? Holy shit! Holy shit! Like, you, Griffin, you mentioned earlier, help I'm feeling in regards to Arcane. Fucking for a series themed around just being stuck in a '90s computer game. God, the oh, dude, no, like it gets deep. Like there's some like extremely wholesome but also extremely fucked up imagery in Amazing Digital Circus. Like episode 3 is like by far my favorite episode so far. But like it's a series that the tone, like episode 1, oh, here's a zany adventure as we introduce the characters. It's kind of generic. Episode 2, we're going to the Wild West. Okay, what's episode 3? We're going to a haunted house and people are going to die. Wait, what's episode 4? We're working at McDonald's. What?
look, sometimes you got to throw the curveball in there.
I
It makes you appreciate the good times that much better when you know that at the flip of a coin, something terrible could happen.
Oh yeah, and Glitch is a success story that I think they're starting to get like recognition from like ad tickets developers, and that's why I won't go too much into detail of them. The I want all these other smaller creators like Duralis and Associates, like Norfolk Wizard Game, like No Evil. I want them to get the kind of
Like Betsy Ross with No Evil, yeah.
yeah, I want these shows and these creators to get this kind of success. So we have Glitch, we have with their shows, we have I can't remember the creator of
Vivzy with Hell of a Boss
Vivzy,
and Has Been Hotel.
and another one, like it's not so much an animated thing, but one that to me is the success story because they just went on to make their own studio and their own like streaming platform, College Humor, which then turned into Dropout. Like,
Yes.
I mean, what say what you will about how you feel about the content. The fact that they started off with just like crappy animations about like, oh, the 7 types of girlfriends you'll date in college, to like some of the funniest fucking game shows on streaming and like some of the best
And
D&D
their
content.
amazing Pokemon parodies.
Yes. Like that's a success story worth talking about. Like you have like all these creators, all these things that are seeing success. I mean, Amazing Digital Circus is on Netflix if you don't want to look it up on YouTube. But I want all these other smaller creators to get this kind of success. And I guess to leave us off, any channel, any kind of media, is there like a series or a content creator that makes just like original, not necessarily like a let's play or anything like that, but just like an original content that you think is very well deserving? You want them to be like discovered, or you want them to get this kind of like sponsorship backing with these big projects to get the kind of love that Vivzy Pop gets. If you were to like pick one creator, who would you want?
Well, I think for me, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier with just Betsy Ross with No Evil. Like, it is it is a series that whenever I think of like, okay, what do I feel like going and watching on YouTube that is original content for me, I like it more than Hell of a Boss. I liked it more than Has Been Hotel. I love that series, and it's really freaking good. And life's been busy, so I haven't been able to catch up on it recently. But
Yep.
it is one of the few series that if I pull up my YouTube and look through my recommended and I see that there's a new episode, I will stop down. I will drop everything else that I am doing and I will watch it. And now I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this, but I'm kind of a brat when it comes to watching things on YouTube because immediate gratification and everything. I watch things at a minimum on time and a half, if not double speed, because I don't have time to sit here and watch an hour-long video for an hour. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So, but when I watch those, I put them at one time speed. I don't mess with anything. I watch them as they are intended to be watched. And like I said, I will drop everything that I'm doing and watch them. No, pretty much no matter what else is going on, what else I may need to be doing. And Betsy Ross is great. Like I said, she does voice work for at least one, if not two, of the characters. Most of the content is stuff that she wrote, and like I said, is based off the Brother Swan comic, which I think she has posted online somewhere.
She does.
And
I could link it in the description when I put this to
okay,
YouTube.
and then you've got the like I said, she's had pretty much the same group of people that have been doing the voice work the entire time. On their channel, they have outtakes. Like they have their whole videos of just outtakes of the VAs screwing things up, and one of them is the VA for Paula mispronouncing Schotze and Huehuecoitl, and then just complaining at Betsy for making the character name so complicated and blaming her instead of just like, okay, maybe I should try harder. But the banter that goes back and forth between her and Betsy with, damn it, Betsy, why did you add so many X's to this person's name? And just struggling with it and listening to the banter go back and forth, like you can tell that they all get along, they all love what they do, and it's very much like you said earlier, a passion project, and that very much is evident in the product, and it's fantastic.
So for me, it's split between two because there is one original creator that has also started to do their own little series of videos and just started doing an original project that I hope goes somewhere. It's a creator we completely overlooked. It's not my pick, but Terminal Montage is like my second place because they had that
Okay, I
unique.
can see that.
They had that unique brand of just fuck you comedy to the fans. Of just
Right.
like for God's sakes, people would say like, "Hey, we're tired of Christian Kerbo." So he basically responded with, "I'm gonna make the best fucking Christian Kerbo cartoon ever."
Ever.
Yeah.
And you're going to love it.
But like my pick is
Oh yeah.
honestly Bruva with it doesn't even matter what. Obviously I want it to be
What?
like Hunter the Parenting. I would love to get like that kind of animation just on like I'm wanting to get more money just like
Terminal Montage has a new episode that went up 11 hours ago.
yes they do. I saw that earlier, reminded me like a Kerbo Christmas Carol. I haven't seen that yet.
Yes,
I am probably going to
I
watch
haven't
it.
either.
I'm gonna watch it.
I've got a tab open already.
I'm gonna watch that.
I will watch it as soon as we're done.
Yeah, but no, my pick is absolutely Bruva, just because.
And I agree.
Uh,
It's great.
uh, I want them to, even if it's not their animation, I want them like to have success. Like it'd be in their writing or their voice acting, because they're also great voice actors. Oh my god. There's some times where I forget it's literally just like a crew of like 6 people.
Yeah, no, and like you said, it's with them having worked on multiple projects, rest in peace, text to speech, but the the talent, like it was that was the first thing that like struck me with watching Hunter the Parenting is it goes in like it was seamless. Like the first 10 seconds of the first episode, I was like, oh, I know exactly who these characters are. I know everything that they're about. And some of that is yes, because they basically just adapted the characters from their other franchises or from their other projects. But they are unapologetically authentic
Yes.
with how they voice act, how they play their characters, how they write the characters, and very quickly you can go, okay, I see, like you can pick up so quickly on what they're doing.
All right. I think that's going to be a good spot to let us know what like when you see if you see this on YouTube, put it in the comments, obviously, but maybe in chat, just tell us if you were to find like an independent creator, an independent series on YouTube that you just want to see more success, or just one you loved. Let me know what you think of it. But um, thank you for going to discuss random YouTube shenanigans with me, Mr. Thunderheart.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And
Yes.
whenever you want to discuss random shit again, you know where to find me.
Yeah. Usually there is a wheel. There won't be a wheel this time, and the reason is the next episode. The subject will be is already kind of decided because I don't want to have it much like with the Halloween episode. I don't want to have it after the holiday. So, 2 weeks from today, we'll be having our Christmas episode, just about the holidays in general, like my favorite Christmas movies, Christmas whatever. I might decorate the theater here in the background if I remember to. I don't know. Christmas decorations are expensive.
They
But
are, and I mean, it depends on. I mean, how many rows do you have? One, two, three. I mean, you've only got like 8 rows of seats.
I'm gonna,
You don't need that much mood lighting
I'm
for
gonna,
a theater.
I'm gonna decorate one chair, like just like one chair just in the background. But,
Yeah,
but
just one random chair. Yeah, see. That's all you need. You just need a tree topper, and then just stick a tree topper on one of the chairs in the back.
yes, and
And realistically, if you think about it, you don't need to buy lights for every chair. You only need to buy the lights for the fronts of the chairs. None of us are going to see the back of the chairs.
I'm gonna get one of those lawn deer and just kind of haphazardly put it in the reserve chair, just there.
Or actually, something that would be funny to do is it would be a little bit of work, I'm sure, but you just have like the wreckage of Santa's sleigh in the background, and then like a bunch of deer, just like their back legs sticking up out of the air, scattered throughout the theater in the back.
Okay, so the Santa sleigh idea, I might actually do something with that, but I don't know. I have a few ideas, but yeah, next time I'll have a special guest with me that consider a Christmas present for those watching, those who kept up with the podcast. But the next guest will be a bit of a Christmas present, and we'll be discussing the everyone's favorite time of year, Christmas. Yay! And yeah, thank you once again, Thunderheart, for joining me as we talk about YouTube and other random bullshit.
Anytime, Kaiju Kid. Thank you for having me. All right, I gotta go fuck some shit up.
Oh, well, that's what a storm elemental like you does.
If you're good at something, don't do it for free.
Hell yeah.